So what if I told you the US military has a real, honest-to-goodness, unclassified plan for the zombie apocalypse? I know, it sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood movie, but I promise you this is 100% real.
And here's the proof. This isn't some fan fiction or a clever fake. The actual title from the official 2011 document is Counter-Zombie Dominance. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. It's a formal contingency plan from the U.S. Strategic Command.
That's right. The U.S. Strategic Command, the folks in charge of our nuclear weapons and missile defense, they're the ones who sat down and wrote a detailed strategy for dealing with a full-on zombie invasion.
So let's peel back the layers here. What's actually in this thing? Well, it's structured just like any other serious military plan. It's got a purpose, clear objectives, and a step-by-step guide on how to execute the mission.
And, the weird thing is, when you look at the main goals, they sound totally normal. Protect humanity, get rid of the threat, and help rebuild society. You could basically copy and paste these into any real-world disaster plan.
Which brings us to the big question, right? With all the actual problems in the world, why would the Pentagon spend a single second planning for zombies? Is it a joke? Well, the answer is actually kind of brilliant.
See, the real goal here was never to fight actual zombies. It was designed as a clever way to teach military planners how to write a complex operational plan, but without all the political drama that comes with using a real country as the enemy.
And they say it right there in the document's disclaimer. They state it was not actually designed as a joke. They just needed a scenario that was, quote, completely impossible. Think about it. If you make a training plan about invading, say, Canada, you might cause a serious international incident. But zombies? They don't have an embassy here call and complain.
So, at its heart, this was all about making a super dry, kind of boring topic, the joint operation planning process, way more interesting. And it worked. By using this crazy scenario, they made the training fun, memorable, and a lot more effective.
Okay, now that we're all in on the secret, we can really appreciate just how deep they went with the details. And trust me, it gets wonderfully weird. They didn't just write zombies and call it a day, oh no. They created an entire classification system. You've got your standard pathogenic and radiation zombies, but then you have evil magic zombies, space zombies. They even have symbiont-induced and weaponized zombies. They covered pretty much every zombie movie trope you can think of.
And they even broke down the specific threat for each type. But my absolute favorite has to be the vegetarian zombie. According to the Pentagon, while a normal zombie groans brains, a vegetarian zombie groans grains. Seriously. And just when you think you can't get any better, there's this. The plan officially includes chicken zombies. And the document notes that, quote, this is actually the only proven class of zombie that actually exists. Turns out, they're talking about a weird but real thing where some chickens can appear to reanimate for a few moments. Wild.
All right, so jokes aside for a second. The actual operational plan here is incredibly solid. It's a textbook example of military strategy broken down into these very clear, sequential phases, just like a real-world plan would be.
Now, don't squint and try to read every little detail on this table. The main thing to see here is just how incredibly thorough they were. It covers everything from defense to offense, phase by phase. It's the real deal.
So let's just boil that big chart down. It's classic military doctrine. First, you shape the environment with training. Then, you deter anyone from creating zombies. When an outbreak happens, you seize the initiative, dominate the threat, stabilize the area, and finally restore civil authority. Makes sense, right?
Now here's my favorite part. To write a plan for something that's not real, you have to make some, let's call them, creative assumptions. And the ones in this document are just fantastic.
First things first, the legal side of things. The planners officially decided that the laws of armed conflict, stuff like the Geneva Conventions, do not apply to zombies. So yeah, no need to take any prisoners.
Okay, next tactical rule. How do you know a zombie is really, truly gone? Well, according to Conplan 8888, the only way to be sure is to burn the body. The double tap rule from the movies apparently isn't enough.
And this is just the best. Remember those evil magic zombies from earlier? Well, the plan says that the military's own chaplain corps, priests, rabbis, imams, might be the only viable means of fighting them. Incredible.
So you have a plan that says zombies have no rights and that we might need chaplains to perform exorcisms. It's hilarious, for sure. But beneath all the humor, there's a really powerful idea here. Let's talk about why this whole thing actually matters.
When you get right down to it, this document is so much more than just a funny piece of government trivia. It's basically a masterclass in how to teach effectively. It proves you can tackle really serious, complex subjects by just making them engaging.
So, what's the big takeaway here? 1. Using an impossible enemy is a genius way to avoid political problems in training. 2. Humor and creativity are not distractions, they're powerful tools for learning. And 3. It shows that even in a place as serious and structured as the military, thinking outside the box is a huge asset.
And really, that's the thought I want to leave you with. If this approach can make something as dense as military operational planning unforgettable, well, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other boring parts of our jobs or our lives could be totally transformed by just a little bit of creative thinking? And maybe, just maybe, a few zombies.